everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made these crochet hoop earrings. These are the same ones in my display picture. I've been getting a lot of questions about it, so I decided to go ahead and make a tutorial so you guys can see. Okay, well, if you want to see how I made this, just stay tuned and we'll get right to it. So first thing you're going to need is some hoop earrings, a pair of hoop earrings. It doesn't matter the size because this pattern is customizable depending on the size. You can go really big or you can go smaller or even smaller. Totally up to you. But for this project I'm going to be using this size. I'll also be using my 3mm crochet hook. You will also need some thread. And for my thread, I will be using 2 skeins of this embroidery floss. You can use size 10 crochet thread if you want, or if that's what you have. It's totally up to you. You will also need a pair of scissors, some crazy glue, and a needle to weave in your ends. Okay, so to begin this, to begin my first half of this pair, I'm going to need 1 skein of my embroidery floss. And let me just undo this. And the first thing you're going to do is make a loop on your hook like so. I hope this is visible to you guys. Okay. Now, picking up my hoop, this side with the latch, that's the side I'm gonna start with for this hoop. With the other one, I'll start on that side, and I'll tell you why in a minute or later. I'll tell you why later. Okay, so alright, so I'm putting my needle through the hoop like so, and putting the loop on my needle. Then what I'm going to be doing is doing 1 single crochet like so around the hoop. I'm going to also work over my tail. I'm going to do a row of single crochet all the way around this hoop. And I'm not keeping count of how many single crochets I am doing. I'm just going to go all the way around the hoop, doing a single crochet, going over this tail. If the tail is getting in your way, you want to cover it at least for a little bit, then pull it up and cut it off if it's getting in your way. Okay, like so. And then I'm just going to keep going all the way around the hoop, covering the hoop with a row of single crochet. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so I finished going around the perimeter of the hoop with a row of single crochet. And when you do this, you want to make sure that your stitches aren't bunched together all the way around, neither are they too far apart that they're stretching. What I mean is you shouldn't be able to see much of the silver ring through the stitches, but at the same time you don't want to cover the entire ring to where you have too many stitches on there to the point where they're falling off on this end. So you just want to have the stitches sitting neatly all the way around the ring. I hope that makes sense to you. But anyways, moving on. Okay, so to begin the next round, you are going to count down 10 or 12 stitches on each side. You can either put a stitch marker in or you can keep a mental note. So the first thing you're going to do for the next round is to chain 1, and then you will do another row of 10 single crochet, or 12, it depends on your preference. For me, I like to go with 10 for this size hoop. If you're using a bigger size, you may want to go, if you're using like a ginormous hoop like this, you may want to go more. Why am I moving down 10? Okay, so on this side I move down 10 to begin my first petal. So if you move down 10 on this side and you decide, okay, I want my petals to be lower, like I want them to start further down, then you move down accordingly, and you would do the same on this side. It's just that I don't want to start my petals right at the very beginning up here. I don't want to have a petal right there. You can if you want to, totally up to you, but I like to move down a bit before I begin the petals. So that's why I move down 10. It's not a rule of thumb, if that makes sense. It's not the rule. It's totally up to you. You could move down 5, 6, 3, I don't know, totally up to you. But 10 seems to be my number there, so I go with 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Whoops. Oh, I lost one. So that was 9 and 10. Okay, so I've moved down 10, clearly. What I'm going to do now is move down 10 on the other side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that should be just about even. And I'm going to put a stitch marker right here. I should have told you you will need stitch markers. But my stitch marker is just going to be a tiny piece of thread in a contrasting color. So I'm just going to pull that under like so. Just like that. Nothing fancy. Okay, so I've put a stitch marker right here, and that is where my last petal will end. Now I need to find the center of this, hoop earring. This will be where my third petal will be. So I'm gonna put my needle right on the edge, right there, right at the edge right here, and line it up with this stitch at the bottom. Yes, this is a whole lot of eyeballing if you're not counting. And I'll put a stitch marker right here. I hope this makes sense to you guys. This is how I do it, and I'm sorry I don't have a more effective way, but trust me, if you follow this, it will work for you. So you're lining up this edge right here with your needle as a ruler, or you can use a ruler or a straight edge, and just line it up to the stitch that it falls under, right down here. Put a stitch marker. And on the next side you do the same thing. Okay, so for the next side, you're just gonna put your needle right here at the edge of the latch right there, and line it up with the other side, like so, all the way. Bring it down and get your little loop right there. This may seem like madness to some people, but trust me, it does work. I need to get another piece of thread for a stitch marker. If you find another way that's effective to find the center of your work, by all means go ahead and do that. Okay, so I have my center petal will fall right here. Okay, and on this side I need to put 2 petals. So I need to divide right here, this side between the middle right here and here. I need to divide this into two. And all you need to do is eyeball it. I say eyeball a lot because I don't like to count. I hate counting stitches. Okay, so from here to right here, and I need to find the center. I choose right here as my center. Don't worry, when you make the second one, it will be way easier because all you need to do is put one on top of the other and just mark your stitches. Okay, so I'll put another marker right there. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So between these 2 points, I will find the center. And I choose right here. And I'll put another stitch marker right there. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Alright, so now that we have this crazy looking earring, we're ready to move on. But it will make sense in a minute. Okay, so we're going to start our petals. So this is where you start your row of 10, or however much you wanted to do on that side. And now you're going to do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to do a slip stitch into that first marked stitch. And remove your stitch marker. And do 1 slip stitch. Okay, and then you're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again slip stitch into the next chain. Where the stitch marker is. Or the next stitch where the stitch marker is. And now we're going to do that middle petal. So now we're going to chain 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slip stitch in the next marked space. And remove a stitch marker. Now we're going to go back to chain 4. 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch into the next marked stitch. Remove your stitch marker. Chain 4 for the last petal. 1, 2, 3, 4. And your last slip stitch on that side. Oops. Like so. This side we won't do yet. We won't complete this side yet. We'll save that for last. Okay, so you should have 5 of these loops, chain loops. That is where each petal is going to be. So you should have 5 of those. Okay, so to begin the next round, you are going to chain 1, turn the work around, and in that first loop, the first chain 4 loop, you are going to work 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet, all in that space. 1, 2, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to work 2 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 2 single crochet. 1, 2. And that's for your first petal. Now you're gonna, into the next slip stitch space, you're gonna work a slip stitch. Okay, and then you're gonna move over to the second chain 4 space, and you're gonna repeat the same thing. So 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 2 half double crochet, 2 single crochet, and slip stitch in the slip stitch space. That's next. And now we're going to work our middle petal. So we're going to start with 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, 2 half double crochet, 1, 2, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Now 3 treble crochet. So you wrap the yarn around your needle twice. Go through, pull through, and pull off 2. Then 2 more. And then the last 2. Okay, so that was 1 treble crochet. I'm going to show you again as slowly as I can. So you wrap the yarn around the needle twice. Go under the chain, hook the yarn, pull up. Just like that. And that's 2. And 1 more. 1 more treble crochet. All in that middle part where we have a chain 6. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Now 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. Now 2 single crochet, all in the same space. 2 single crochet, 1, 2. And now to the slip stitch, we do a slip stitch into that slip stitch space. Okay, and now we have 2 loops left, and we're going to work them the same. So it's 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochet, okay, 1 and 2, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Then 2 half double crochet, 1 and 2, and 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. And then a slip stitch in the next slip stitch space. Then move over to our last chain 4 space, and we work the same. 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 2 single, 2 half, 1, 2, and 3, then 2 half double crochet, 2, and then 2 single crochet, 1, 2. And in the top of the slip stitch that's on the edge right here, we do a slip stitch. And that is what we have so far. And it looks cray-cray. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so for the next round, you're going to chain 1, turn the work around, and you're going to work 1 single crochet in the top of each stitch all the way across. So all the way across, just a single crochet. You do that all the way across this first petal. Okay, and then when you get to the space between the two petals, you are gonna work a slip stitch into the top of that slip stitch that's there. So that is how you will separate each petal. So a slip stitch between each petal, and then a single crochet in each stitch all the way across. So that is basically it for this round. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming up to the last stitch of this last petal, which is the slip stitch. So you're going to go ahead and just do a slip stitch right at the edge right there. And now for this part, you're going to work a single crochet in each of those stitches all the way to the end to complete your project. Okay, and if you counted, you should have the same amount on this side as you did on this side over here. Okay, and then when you get up to the last one, you can do a slip stitch to finish off that round, and then you'll just chain one and pull out the thread right there. And now I'm going to cut that off and pull out the excess. Just like that. Alright, and this is my finished earring. We're all finished. So we're all finished with this first earring. We just gotta work on the second one. Alright, so before I work on the second one, I'll show you how I would finish this off. You will need a needle, decent size needle, that you can string your thread onto. I cut my tail a little bit too short, so I'll have to put my needle into my work first, like so. I'm just pushing the needle into the row of single crochet, like so. Like that, and then I will string my needle. If I had a longer tail, I'll just string the needle, then weave the end in, but I cut my tail too short. Not that it matters. Just work with what you have. Okay, and then I'll just pull the needle out the other side, if I can. And I'll pull the thread tight and cut off the excess. And then I'll straighten this out. Just like that. Alright, and I mentioned glue in the beginning. What I like to do is I like to take my crazy glue, or super glue, and I'll slide I'll slide this back a bit of glue on the end right here. And then I will slide this over it right there. I don't know what's wrong with this thing not focusing. Okay, so I'll slide the glue right on top of it, hold it in place, until it sticks, and now it's not going anywhere. So I know it won't slide down or it won't slide off. And I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll move the thread back a bit, and then right at the edge right here, I will add a little bit of super glue. And then I'll move the threads right up on top of it so it will stay. Okay, and now it's glued tight, so it's not gonna slide, it's not gonna shift down, and it's not gonna slide off. So that just holds it in place. You can use nail glue or whatever glue you have, or you can go without glue. Totally up to you. It's just that I want to keep it secure on the loop. I want to keep my stitches on the hoop and not have them slide off and ruin my work. Okay, so when we just started, I started with this side of my of the earring. I started my loops I started putting on my stitches on this side of the earring where the latch was. And the reason for that is when you're finished your work, there will be a right side and a wrong side. If you do them both, if you make both sides of the earring going in the same direction, like say I started on, okay, see this one, I started on this side also, so this is the right side and this is also the right side. When you put these on in your ears, this is where the part is that goes through your ear hole, through your piercing. So this is how it's gonna face. So the underside or the wrong side is what's gonna be facing out, while on this side the right side will face out. So you want to make sure, I hope this makes sense. Anyways, you want to make sure that when you start your second hoop, you start on this side that goes through. This is where you will begin your loops. And if you started on this side to begin with, you make sure you start on this side when you're starting the second one. So that way you will have a wrong side and a right side with your earrings. You won't have one facing that way and one facing this way. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that when you are making your earrings. Okay, so and when for the next round, I will go ahead and put my loops on my next one. I'll do the row of single crochet and then I will show you how to complete the second one. Okay guys, so I've started my my second hoop in this pair. I've done my one row of single crochet all the way around. So now it's time to line up where my petals are gonna go. So to do this, all you need to do is flip the hoop over and sit it directly on top of the previous one. And you're gonna use the first completed earring as your guide for where your petals are gonna go on this one. So you're just gonna put it on, sit it right on top of it, line it up perfectly. You can count down your 10 stitches, or you can just, line it up on top and use your crochet hook to pick up the loop where your stitch markers should go, based on where the petals from the first earring starts and ends. So it's that simple. So you know that your first petal will start there and it will end right here, and the same for each one going all the way around. So I hope that makes sense to you. If not, you can just do what we did for the first one. You count down 10 on both sides, then do the whole dividing again. But I find that it is very easy if you just use the finished earring as your guide and just pick up the loop, insert your stitch markers to mark where you need to go. And then if you need to make more earrings like this in a different color or whatever, you can use one of the finished earring as a guide for where your petals will go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this earring and I'll see you when I'm done. Hi guys, so I have completed my pair of earring and this is what my finished product looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you were able to duplicate this pattern, although it was a little bit all over the place with the eyeballing and stuff, but I hope it made some sense to you and you were able to get yours to look like mine or close. Okay, and this pattern is very, it's very customizable. You can, if you wanted to try it to make it differently, you could do something like this. With this, I went for 3 larger petals than 5 petals. I did use a smaller hoop, so instead of trying to fit 5 petals on here, I just did 3 and did them a little bit bigger. I also did use a different kind of thread for this. I used I used regular embroidery thread for this. You know, the kind that you can separate into about 8 pieces. This thread I picked up at Walmart. The thread I used before is I think it's called craft thread. Like, it's just one piece. It's just one piece of thread, as opposed to this one. This one's a little bit softer and it unravels more. This one doesn't unravel. So yeah, I got this result from the embroidery thread and this one from the craft thread. So they pretty much come out nice. It's just that this one comes out a little bit different. But like I said, this pattern is very customizable. You can make as many or as little petals as you want. You could even try mixing up the colors, trying to do it, you know, do it in multicolor. If you want to see how I made this, you can let me know in the description box below, but it's pretty much the same thing. And I also did something slightly different with my petals on this one. If you want to see how I made this one, let me know also, and I'll try to recreate, try to make a tutorial for that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.